In a quiet little village, nestled between rolling hills and golden fields, lived an old widow named Ama-Latha. She had lost her husband many years ago and her only son had moved to the city, visiting only once a year. Most of the villagers saw her as a lonely old woman, spending her days sitting by the small window of her mud brick house, gazing at the world outside. She had once been full of life, but now, time and solitude had stolen the warmth from her heart. "What is there left for me?" she would mutter to herself, sighing as she stirred her thin soup. She barely spoke to anyone and rarely stepped out, except to buy a few essentials from the village market. One evening, a storm rolled in. The wind howled through the village, rattling doors and windows. Ama-Latha sat by her dim lantern, listening to the rain pound against her roof. Suddenly, she heard a frantic knock at her door. Startled, she hesitated before slowly opening it. There, drenched and shivering, stood a little boy no older than 8. His clothes were torn, and his lips quivered from the cold. "Amma, please help," he stammered. I got lost in the storm." Without thinking, Ama-Latha pulled him inside and wrapped a dry shawl around him. She quickly prepared some warm rice and lentils, placing the bowl in front of him. The boy ate hungrily, pausing only to look up at her with grateful eyes. As he finished his meal, he whispered, "Thank you, Amma. I was so scared." For the first time in years, Ama-Latha felt something stir inside her, a sense of purpose. She smiled faintly and asked, "Where is your home, child?" The boy explained that he was from the neighboring village and had wandered off while playing with his friends. The storm had made it impossible for him to find his way back. That night, as the rain continued to fall, Ama-Latha laid out an extra blanket for him and watched as he fell asleep. She realized how much she had missed caring for someone, how much joy simple kindness could bring. The next morning, as the sun broke through the clouds, she walked the boy back to his village, where his anxious mother embraced him with tears in her eyes. "I can never thank you enough," she told Ama-Latha, holding her hands tightly. Word of Ama-Latha's kindness spread through the villages, and soon, children started visiting her house to listen to her stories. Young mothers came to seek her advice, and lonely travelers found a warm meal and a kind word under her roof. Slowly, the old widow's house became a place of warmth and laughter. The emptiness she had once felt was replaced with something new, belonging. One day, as she sat by her window, watching the village children play outside, she smiled to herself. "I thought my life was over," she whispered. "But I was wrong. There is always something to live for." And from that day on, she never again hated her life. Instead, she embraced it, finding joy in the small, everyday moments, because sometimes, a single act of kindness can bring light into the darkest corners of our hearts.